everything that's being talked about here also makes me think of a different perspective. As somebody who's monogamous like myself, um, I I hear all this and wonder, does any of this apply to me, since I'm not anticipating meeting new people or establishing any new hookups. But Reed, you were talking about skin hunger. Was that the term?
Mhm.
This idea of wanting touch. The last person that I touched, aside from my wife, uh, was in March of 2020, over a year ago, and I almost wonder. I'm a hugger. I like shaking hands and touching people, with consent, obviously. But I wonder if people will be experiencing that, if we will start shaking hands again and get some kind of charge out of that, and get the feeling that, like, oh, there is something here, there's a connection, when it's really just that thirst, that walking through the desert and getting to the oasis. I guess what I'm getting at is preparing for the psychological effect that touch will have, even if it's non-sexual in context, that it'll start to feel different than we remember touch feeling in an innocuous way.
Y'all are so romantic. It's like, like Reed, you're talking about people falling in love, and Eric like touching someone's hand and being like, oh, there's something special here. I live so much in like the Tinder world of like, and swipe next and swipe next. I'm like, fall in love. Like, these bitches not gonna fall in love. Like, it's gonna be like, yeah.
Well, but the Tinder world or the Grindr world,
Yeah.
I think for some of us, like, we're oriented, like, casual sex and hookups is like, it's like if we were all musicians and we had a drumming circle. Some of us are like, that was awesome, I'm gonna go home now. Other people are like, I want to start a band. That was amazing. That was an ecstatic experience. Right. And then all of a sudden you're like, I don't want to start a band with you. Like, that was a fun drum circle. And they're like, no, you don't understand. You're amazing.
Reed is serving up some good sex, I'll tell you that.
I mean, well, I also used to make people waffles the next morning. So that was like back in the 90s in New York, if you were a bartender, that you even invited somebody to stay over so that you cooked them breakfast the next day. Like, oh my God, you must really like me. And I'm like, well, you're an amazing human being and you just fucked my brains out. Like, of course I'm going to feed you so we can do this again. But then we'd hook up too often and have these really lovely conversations. And then, like, for a lot of other people, like, we were starting to have a relationship. And then that was me, like, starting to figure out, like, oh, wait a minute, like, I'm really good at being with a lot of people and also being nice and really appreciating them. And my world got better when I started dating sluts, because then sluts didn't freak out about how slutty I was. Whereas if I dated monogamous people who wanted to have a child within a year, like, I'm the Antichrist to them.
We're doing a series this summer for Himrose TV called The Summer of Love. And it's kind of anticipating a lot of this, what we're chatting about. Mm-hmm. We're filming it in New York. We're doing 3 videos on 3 consecutive nights with 3 different pairings of guys that are hooking up with each other that haven't met before. They've each had a sex coach session prior to, but like haven't met. And one of the things that we're trying to capture is this container of like hooking up with someone, that it's not special in spite of like the fact that you might never see this person again, but it is in fact special like because of that container. Like, it is just one night. There's no expectations. Like, you don't have to take me to meet your parents. We're not going to get married. Like, we are just going to lay it all out there and fuck and have fun and do it all. Like, there's no tomorrow, and really celebrate that. So like, it's, I think in 2021 going into the summer, like, I think that's going to be fun for people to kind of play with that. It's certainly going to be fun to film with it and kind of be in that hookup celebration space.
It would, and I'm so excited about that, because like modeling for people that is possible is that makes my heart so huge. Like my little sex geek heart grew 6 sizes, because helping people learn how to feel better about themselves around being casual, and that yeah, like that relationship, even if it lasted for a night or for 5 minutes, like you might carry those memories for the rest of your life as being like this fucking hot hookup, and that's important for people, versus they had great sex, but it like somehow got really weird at the end and got all fucked up. Then you kind of tarnishes that memory.